As you can imagine, the Mazda 3 is a pretty important vehicle for us. The C segment in which it competes is the largest segment in the world. It's the second largest segment in the United States. 1 out of every 3 cars sold is a C segment car. It's no wonder it's so competitive. We've got 30 different nameplates that are vying for sales in this segment, and it's going to be even more competitive as we expect the segment will grow by about 25% over the next 6 years. Now, since we've introduced the car in 2003, we've sold over 4 million Mazda 3s and garnered a lot of accolades and awards along the way. The Mazda 3 is marketed in over 120 countries. It represents 30% of sales worldwide and 40% of our sales in the United States. So clearly, when we introduce an all-new Mazda 3, it's vitally important we get it right. Hopefully by the end of today and having some time with the car, you'll agree that we have. Now think about 2003. Turn the Wayback Meter back. This is when the Mazda 3 was introduced. The C segment was all about basic transportation. We're talking about boring, unimaginative, really uninspiring economy boxes. And the Mazda 3 changed all that. First, it was great looking, and it still is. Second, because performance is in the DNA of everything we make, that new Mazda 3 in 2003 had a standard multi-link suspension and all-wheel disc brakes, which was the first in the segment. And probably more importantly, it brought a lot of features that you didn't see in the C segment down to the C segment from the segments above. Things like leather seats, navigation, bi-xenon headlamps, LED tail lights, rain-sensing wipers. Think about it. You could not buy a car equipped with navigation or leather seats in the C segment for any price, but you could get it for the Mazda 3 back in the 2004 model year. And what that did was it forced all the competitors in the C segment to take notice and up their game substantially. Now, since that introduction in 2003, the Mazda 3 has always stood for 4 key values. The first is distinctive interior and exterior design. The second is fun-to-drive performance. The third is great fuel economy. And the fourth is class-above technology and features. Now, let's talk about design here for a second. A couple of years ago, Mazda introduced a new design language called CODA, and CODA translates into soul in motion. It's that motion that we're trying to convey in the lines of the vehicle. Now, the first execution of that CODA design was the Shinari 4-door, 4-seat sport coupe. And as you can see, just looking at the lines of the car, the design has a strong sense of power and utility, while at the same time being sleek and sophisticated. Now, these design elements were carried forward into production, first with the CX-5, then with the 2014 Mazda 6, and now with the 2014 Mazda 3. And CODA is made up of 3 design elements or principles. The first is speed. We want the cars to look like they're moving, even when they're standing still. The second is tension. What this means is we want to create a feeling of tremendous amount of energy that's just about to be released. It's being held just at bay and about to be released. And the third element is allure. This idea of sophistication and hand craftsmanship, a look that is at once emotional, soulful, and seductive. Now, if you take a look at the Mazda 3, the execution here, or over there, you'll notice first off that it's very cab rearward design. All right, it features a long hood, and the A-pillars are slanted back or raked back, as you can see. And together, these features give a sense of this energy that's about to be released, as I talked about earlier. In addition, the car features the chiseled fender sculpting that we've brought to bear on a lot of our cars that we have released lately. And that gives that bold sense of power and vitality. The other thing that it does is it creates a sense of motion moving from the front of the car to the back of the car. Now, on the proportions side, if we were to compare the new 2014 Mazda 3 to the outgoing model, you'd find that it's a ½ inch lower, it's 1.5 inches wider. We've taken the wheelbase and increased it by 2.5 inches. But at the same time, we've reduced the overhangs. So the overall length of the vehicle hasn't been increased. In fact, the overall length is slightly shorter, so we've got no loss in nimbleness of the vehicle. But at the same time, we've increased the passenger volume and the cargo volume, and we've increased the hip room and the shoulder room in the vehicle, while at the same time dropping about 100 pounds from the car. And then finally, because the A-pillars are moved back a little bit, and we've adopted these door-mounted side mirror lamps, we've improved visibility for the driver. So this beauty is more than just skin deep. If you look at it on an aerodynamics level, the other thing that we've been able to do is sculpt the body in a way that there are no vortices or vortex that develop as the air is flowing over the vehicle. In fact, what it does is the air traveling over and under the vehicle all converge at a single point behind the vehicle to improve aerodynamics. Under the vehicle, we've adopted a full underbody panel, and we've even gotten to the point of designing the cross-sectional area of the muffler so it actually helps curve the flow of the air upward to help converge at that point behind the vehicle. Now, all of this leads to a very, very good coefficient of drag for the 5-bore of 0.275 and a class-leading coefficient of drag for the 4-door of 0.255. Now, I think I've made a pretty dramatic statement about the exterior of the vehicle. I think we've done pretty good on the exterior of the car, but I think the interior is even more of a step forward. Let's take a look at that now. Excuse me. Slip inside, you'll find a layout that is really designed around the driver and the art of driving. We spent a lot of time studying the human-machine interface, the ergonomics and functionality of the cockpit, in an attempt to make the driving experience seamless, efficient, and very, very safe. In fact, the idea is to make the driver and the car one, create a sense of oneness between the driver and the vehicle, while at the same time offering a comfortable and safe environment for the passenger. Excuse me. I think you'll agree that the design of the interior of the Mazda 3 is truly a game changer. Now let's take a look at what are typically two opposing values. One is fun to drive performance and the other one is great fuel economy. But the nice thing about the Mazda 3 is it employs SkyActiv. With SkyActiv technology, we really can deliver both. If you take a look at the powertrains, what we're doing is we're taking the 2-liter powertrain, the SkyActiv G 2.0-liter engine that we introduced in the 2012 Mazda 3. We're carrying it forward with the 2014, but we've improved the fuel economy to up to 21 miles per gallon. And the other great thing about it is because we have all new packaging in the front, we're able to couple that with our 4-into-2-into-1 exhaust head. That allows us to raise the compression on that engine to its level of 13-to-1 compression, which actually improves the mid-range torque by 14 foot-pounds. So we've got actually year over year, using the same engine, an improvement in mid-range torque and the performance feel of the car has gone up. Now, along with that 2-liter engine, we're also introducing our 2.5 SkyActiv G engine. And what's great about that engine is it develops 184 horsepower and also gets up to 39 miles per gallon. Now, that engine is also available with IE Loop. IE Loop is Mazda's capacitor-based system that basically takes the electrical load off of the vehicle and can yield up to about a 5% real-world improvement in fuel economy. What's great about this engine is, compared to the 2.5-liter MZR that replaces in the old Mazda 3, this new SkyActiv 2.5 develops more horsepower and more torque all across the rev range, right? And it does that at the same time as delivering 10 miles per gallon more in highway fuel improvement. So really, the best of both worlds here. Both of these engines allow a Mazda 3 to go a long way between gas stations. So without sacrificing the performance that Mazdas are known for. So truly with the SkyActiv technology, we get the best of both worlds, fun to drive and great fuel economy. And that's really not a hollow statement, because if you take a look at the competitive segment in which the Mazda 3 competes, you'll find that we've got a better combination of fuel economy and power than anyone else out there. And in fact, it's even more apparent when you take a look at the entry-level vehicles. So here's a graph that shows you MPG and power of the competitive set for automatic transmission entry-level vehicles. I want to point out that even our base Mazda 3 is available with an automatic transmission that delivers 41 miles per gallon. To get that kind of fuel economy in a competitor, you either have to step up to a fuel economy package or to a trim. And chasing great fuel economy in the highway is not just the only thing about SkyActiv. SkyActiv sort of delivers all across the range. We've got some of the best city fuel economy as well as combined fuel economy. And the Mazda 3 5-bore that's on display over there stands alone in terms of delivering 40 miles per gallon highway, 30 miles per gallon city with a combined fuel economy of 33 miles per gallon. Really, the other 5-bores in the segment aren't even close. So in other words, the 3 absolutely delivers on the idea of fun to drive performance and fuel economy. Now, Owners of the Mazda 3 can enjoy the car in other ways too, besides those attributes. And one is the level of features that we bring to it. The first thing we did was we're carrying over a lot of features that were already introduced in previous models of the Mazda 3. And things like bi-xenon headlights, rain-sensing wipers, adaptive front lighting system, and blind spot monitor. Those are all features that are now being adopted by some of the other competitors, but they were introduced to the segment first by prior Mazda 3s. In addition to those carryover features, we're also bringing to bear for 2014 some new exterior features. We have a signature daytime running light LED front end that's also complemented by the LED taillights. We also have 18-inch wheels that are available. And we also have paddle shifters, rear view camera, IE loop, and active grille shutters. And something that we call an active driving display. That's right there in the driver's center line. This active driving display delivers information that's centered high and in the driver's line of sight to minimize distraction. And what it does is it actually focuses the virtual display almost 5 feet in front of the driver's eyes. So that's actually out over the hood. And again, what that does is it minimizes the amount of time the driver's eyes have to focus from looking at the road ahead to looking at the pertinent driving information in front of them. This information includes vehicle speed, navigation turn-by-turn information, and active safety and other critical features. And as you'd expect, it's also a Mazda exclusive in the segment. In addition to the active driving display, the 2014 Mazda 3 also introduces Mazda Connect, which is our new infotainment system. A Mazda Connect is kind of like what we did with the clean sheet approach for Sky Active. Only here what we're doing is we're taking a clean sheet approach to saying, what is all the information the driver wants to manage outside of the vehicle? Let's bring it into the vehicle and minimize driver distraction at the same time. One of the ways we do that is we display that information up high for the driver. So when you take a look at the vehicle, you'll see that the Mazda Connect display is actually high up and decoupled from the dash. In addition, the size of the display is based on research that we did to manage the optimal amount of information the driver can process at any one time without distraction. And it's decoupled from the instrument panel. What that has allowed the designers to do is by decoupling it, they've been able to create a low, flat, horizontal dash that creates an open and airy sense in the cockpit. Now, the primary way of interfacing with Mazda Connect is through mechanical means, mechanical input that we call the commander. We also have touchscreen, and we also have some very robust voice recognition. But what we find is that when you design a system from the ground up to take advantage of mechanical input has very, very strong advantages in a complex environment like a driving cockpit. Some of the advantages over voice recognition and over touchscreen are things like tactile feedback, blind operation, and better accuracy. Now, the Mazda Connect system integrates in one area navigation, also all of your audio inputs, which in the case of the Mazda 3 include, internet radio information, AHA, Pandora, and Stitcher, the AM, FM, and HD radio, Sirius XM satellite radio, 2 USB inputs, auxiliary input. Am I missing it? Yeah, and basically lots and lots of inputs. And at the same time, it allows you in one place to manipulate a lot of the customization features that are available on the vehicle. The ability to customize the lighting, both interior and exterior, as well as the door locks and some other things. And the other great thing about Mazda Connect is it's updatable through an SD card. So as new applications become available or new improvements are made, you don't have to trade your 2014 Mazda 3 in for another one. What you do is just get an update to the software. We'll go ahead and put the update in, and you've got some improvements right there in Mazda Connect. We've also tried to make it very intuitive. I'm going to run through a couple of examples here. The first thing you see is that by using the commander interface, it's very easy to get around. Again, by using a mechanical interface from the start, the idea that that was the primary use, it forces us to simplify the navigation or the structure, if you will, of the operating system. In addition to that, we've reduced the number of hard buttons. So there are 3 main buttons across the top, and those match the 3 often used sections of Mazda Connect. In addition, there's a back button, so you never get deep down into a menu without being able to get back up to reduce frustration. And in addition, the system is very intuitive. So for instance, in this case, someone pressed communication. Because the phone wasn't paired, it doesn't say, sorry, there's no communication. What it does is it automatically defaults to, phone's not paired, would you like to? So you don't have to go searching for it. In this example here, you see that we have a very consistent user interface with regard to the sub-navigation. We have icons that are very easily recognized, but until you learn what those icons mean, we also have rollover descriptions, so you can quickly learn. And the way we've set up our sub-navigation is the areas that you use most often are on the far left and the far right. So you can get to those by spinning the command either clockwise or counterclockwise and then hitting enter very quickly. So again, the idea of trying to make it very intuitive and easy to use. We've also, as I said, interfaced with touchscreen and also with voice command. So in cases where it makes more sense to use touchscreen, like in this case of setting an FM station, you can go ahead and do that as well. The other thing that this shows you is our favorites button. If you press and hold the favorites button, what it does is it saves a radio station. What's great about that is it saves up to 50 radio stations, it also saves up to 50 contacts, and it also saves up to 50 destinations. So in your favorites folder, you can jump to that very quickly by pushing that button and bring those favorites up quickly. Here's an example of using the touchscreen to scroll through the map. You can do that with the commander switch, but also touchscreen enables it very quickly. And finally, as I said, we have very robust voice recognition. The system can recognize a full address. So when you read out a full address, it does a pretty good job of bringing that up, and then you can go ahead and use the commander switch to select it, and you're good to go. So I think if you actually get behind the wheel and spend some time with Mazda Connect, you'll agree that our engineers did a pretty good job of thinking through a very intuitive and brand new user interface. This is exclusively Mazda.